guys. Let me break it to you. I heard almost like 2 or 3 gents saying that they are the last person between you and lunch. But I'm representing Dow Jones, and we publish Wall Street Journal, and we believe in providing accurate information. So I am the last person standing between you and lunch. And that's, you can trust, because it's coming from Wall Street Journal. Okay? With that note, just before I get into my presentation, I'm Sachin. I'm based in Singapore. I work with banks across Asia Pacific who are taking their journey in deploying Gen AI for different use cases. And I saw some interesting comments in the panels today where the one which stayed with me, where someone said that AI is not currently used for revenue generation. I think probably true for some organizations, but globally, I think that we have moved that part. There is a lot of implementations, and there are some use cases which I'm going to talk about. So 2 major areas where we're seeing Gen AI usage is, one, managing some kind of risk, and I'm oversimplifying it. And second is identifying opportunities for revenue generation. So, these are the 2 areas, and some of the use cases that I'm going to talk about today is what are on those lines. So quick introduction, who we are. As I started by saying, we are a news and information provider. We are Dow Jones. We are in the business of providing our own news. So we have journalists all around the world. In our own bureaus, we provide content. And then we also aggregate premium content from reputed news providers. Now, you might be wondering, like, what a news provider is doing in an AI conference. Where is the context, right? This is what happened to us. When we ran a survey, and majority of our customers started saying that we are now looking to use Gen AI, and we need content for it. But what happened is, generative AI met generative litigation, right? So the classic ones where OpenAI got sued by New York Times, to so many others. These are well reported, so I'm not going to get into this. But that became an issue for our clients who were trying to upload news and content into their LLMs. And Dow Jones took a stand that we, as a publisher, first, we don't want to stand in the way of innovation. LLMs are here, and they're not going to go away anytime, right? So we take the stand that we're going to allow our content to go into large language models. And we also created a marketplace where other publishers can monetize their content for LLM use case. So what it allowed us to do is getting more than 5,000 publishers to come on board from different 163 plus countries and different languages to provide coverage for LLM. So what does it mean for your organization? So these are not the very exhaustive list. These are the most common use cases we are seeing, where Gen AI, large language model, and news comes together to provide very specific, curated insights for different use cases. So as I said, two key things. One is managing risk. Other is identifying some kind of opportunity, right? So I'll start with risk first, because I think that has been discussed a lot today. So this is the context. There is an information overload, like people can't get enough of news. If you look at our news channels, you know what I'm talking about. But analyzing those news content is a full-time job, and we cannot just keep throwing warm bodies at this problem. So, but here's the thing. We tested a hypothesis where, is it possible to take news and build early warning signals using AI, okay? So, and then we did some of the case studies. These are all, again, some of the incidents which have been reported. But there were clear identification in many of these, like Wirecard or Greensill, that there were news about these companies which would have raised enough red flag alerts for you to start looking into them deeply. But people just ignored it. And effective news monitoring could have highlighted this kind of risk much in advance. So we are going to work with that. We work with that hypothesis. We work with an organization called Oliver Wyman to build a model. So we trained a model taking 5 to 10 years of last news data. And the model was trained on what kind of behaviors a company exhibits in news before a major credit rating downgrade or high-risk events, right? And then model is now able to predict that and assign scores to them to say, okay, there is a 46% chance that there is going to be a negative risk events with these companies in next 3 to 6 months lead time. Let's see how it plays out in action. So there are some backtesting examples that I wanted to show you today. The pointer work? Yeah. Okay. There you go. Not sure if you can see my pointer, but so this is the score line, and below is the line of the timeline. So what you are looking at here, there's a huge spike in the score here, somewhere around to 2021 for this company Tupperware. You all know Tupperware, right? We have used it. Even during this time, there were a lot of news around multiple class action lawsuits, CFO change, right? There is a sell of a business discussion also going on. That enough indicator there's something going on in the country. By the time credit rating agencies downgraded it, it took us 11 months. But having this information quantified with the use of AI is the real value. And while we have built these solutions, but I'm not trying to say buy this solution. But this is just one of the case how news can be used to identify and effectively mitigate different kind of risks. Clients are now using it for different things as well. So yeah, we did the backtesting on Evergrande, right? These are again very popular use cases. There were signals in news for Evergrande, all companies like Dish TV as well. And then there are different kind of use cases that we are seeing, right from now counterparty intelligence to fin crime, CDD related use case, and so on and so forth. But then clients have started to see, okay, can we start using these scores to manage ESG risk? The answer we found was yes. They were able to identify many signals which are related to risk, ESG risk. Then clients started saying, can we use it for reputational risk management? And it's amazing that how much we learn from our client, that how this can be used for different kind of use cases. So this is an interesting case where the signal spike was due to some of the co-founders were involved in Mexican drug cartel operations, right? So while managing risk, right, then clients started to flip the coin and say, okay, if this can manage risk, can we start using it to generate revenue opportunities, right? So one of the use cases we tested with one of the clients is they created, using these scores, early warning signal scores, they created S&P 500 weighted portfolio, and then actually put trades through one of the brokers, and we were able to achieve a Sharpe ratio of 1.07. So we were able to generate alpha. So again, just to highlight that revenue generation is already happening. So, and I'm going to double down on that portion a little bit because I talked a bit about risk. So picture this scenario, right? Now, bankers, they get a lot of information on a daily basis. Can we get some kind of, per hyper-personalized targeted signals? So what banks are doing is, based on what desk their bankers are and what's important, they're creating a list of events which can mean a business opportunity signal for their bankers. And then they're monitoring, it's called horizon scanning. They're doing a horizon scanning on media landscape to identify those events. Now what happens in these news events, right? So say so-and-so company won a big project. So some of the key spokespersons or stakeholders are involved, mentioned in that news, right? So AI is not only able to pick that event, relevant event, it's also able to pick up the stakeholders and map it directly to your CRM to give your banker this kind of notification to say, hey, your client was your client. So that's the important point. It's not any news. Your client was mentioned in news today, okay? This is the news. The sentiment is negative, okay? And this is what you can do. So LLM is going a step further to also suggest and mapping to the product, which you can actually go and have conversation with that client. So you can see the debt issuance or currency example that you're seeing on the screen right now. It's a great example. Now, clients started saying, okay, if we can apply it at a company level, can we apply it at an industry level? Yes, that's already happening. And I wanted to highlight one more thing as I proceed. The use cases that I'm talking to you about, they are not concepts. These are already happening. These are already proven for ROI as well. Okay, and I want to highlight that because I know that a lot of organizations who have already adopted and invested a lot in large language models are struggling to prove ROIs. So these are some of the use cases which are already happening, and clients are able to gain strategic advantage in their business operations using this. Other things, I heard some of the panels were talking about creating client experiences, right? can we use AI and news to build hyper-personalized client experience? I'll give an example. Everybody might have a trading account. You know, you might be using a broker, right? You might be getting a lot of news and information there. What if you were able to decide what you want to see? Or based on your portfolio, you started getting very specific insights. So say I am heavily invested in Tesla. I get insights only around Tesla and other competitors and EV market more than all the other news that's been thrown at me. Or I can flip the coin, I keep searching for certain companies a lot, so those news start surfacing. So using AI to create that kind of hyper-personalized experience is also happening, and this is the experiences banks are building for their clients. Then let's take it internally, creating internal newsletters. You all get, do you guys actually read those newsletters, right? That's a question to take away. But what are clients doing now is, rather than having a generic newsletter going to all the organizations, every department, every team is getting a very curated content using large language model as well. So if you get a curated and personalized content, the likeliness of them actually using it increases significantly. This is another common, a lot of banks like Standard Chartered will have their Standard Chartered GPT, JP will have their own internal chatbots, and different department will ask questions and have interactions based on what they are trying to, specific question they're asking to get response, right? So but what are the sources to get that response is also important. If it is coming from credible sources and is grounded, you will get very targeted insights. A lot of research teams spend time to create pitch books and also research reports, taking weeks to create this. Now LLM can, taking your internal data and news, it can be generated within minutes. So these are some of the pitch books and research reports being generated by banks. But some of the key consideration I want to highlight when you're integrating news into your LLM pipelines, I'm not sure how many, I know that a lot of technical people are there in the room. One is, if you get the news, you have to vectorize it and then have a proper API gateway system before plugging into large language model. And a lot of organizations don't have the resources and infrastructure to build this. Other is, you can actually rely on your provider's infrastructure and directly plug and play into your large language model. One of the big fours use this model to bring an enterprise voice chatbot in 3 days. So we are not talking about projects which last for 12 months or 18 months. Gen AI has enabled using unstructured database, unstructured data sources, within weeks' times. And then some other consideration, right, when you're using news, whether you're able to bypass the paywalls, right? Like Wall Street Journal is a paid sources. Is your provider able to give access to it with behind the paywall content as well? Fake news is a big one. Second is source neutrality. If you're relying on one source, right, and say, it's not enough. You have to have multiple sources which can give you a neutral, your model can give you a neutral outlook. And then identifying whether this article is talking about a specific company or it's a passing mention. Your AI should be smart enough. And then this, I'm quoting Deloitte's impediments to Gen AI adoption in near future stats, right? Some of the high number was an availability of enough high quality data, but 25% of people are talking about IP issues as well. And that's what Dow Jones had tried to address. So our motto is we provide you the licensed content for large language models infused with your proprietary data. When you feed it to your AI tool, you generate insights which you can trust on, not hallucinations. And then I want to leave you with this slide, right? But it's very important in this day and age where you get your news from. You guys remember this news line, right? We took the market for a very billion-dollar ride, right? So that's what I want to leave with. The trusted news will lead to trusted analytics, and that's what we are doing. And I hope I've answered the question why a news company is now participating in an AI conference. But this is all happening, and we are working with our clients. If you want to know more, I'm around till evening. Please feel free to reach out, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn as well. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. And I'm going to then let you guys go for a lunch, this time for real. Thank you so much for your attention.